be too deep. I think I'm dying here, man.
Welcome to the 3B Video Deep Cut Podcast.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. It was fun.
Aw, yeah. It's that time again for another bi-weekly podcast with your hosts, Rotten Roger DeMarco and...
one seriously ungrateful, unmanageable dickweed evil.
It's just a little blood guy. Oh, my God.
I know what it is, you big, dumb jock.
You draw your comics loaded with blood. Ugh, that freaks you out. It's time to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. We're already at 5.
Already at 5, and yeah, this is the one, I guess, universally everybody hates, but me.
I don't hate this one. I know we've talked about this numerous times. Like, this is like the one I don't reach for the most often. But it doesn't mean I don't hate it.
When I say hate it, I'm not including you in that grouping. I lump society outside of our bubble in that area, not us.
The dregs, they're over there shunting. They don't want anything to do with Elm Street 5.
Just search Elm Street 5 like reviews on YouTube, and everyone who has a review for it has a fucking like they just farted face in their thumbnail for the review.
Oh yeah, the old standard. What the fuck is this face?
Yeah.
For your thumbnail.
Why am I doing this? No one is forcing you to do it. You just are doing it.
Yep, which is disheartening to say the least, because we've talked about it obviously 4 times prior, but man, oh man, does this film really kind of kick it up a notch with the style of the dreams, this very like gothic look, a lot of weird dream-esque things that previous entries didn't have the guts or the budget to do, like the MC Escher style stairs that are like upside down and backwards and things like that. Very visually pleasing, this movie is, I'll say.
It's, yeah, in adult eyes, it's MC Escher, but kid eyes, I'm like, this is the shit from Labyrinth. Like, this is no longer the Dream Child. This is the power of the babe.
What babe?
The babe with the dreams, because unborn babies can dream.
And they do dream. They spend about 90% of their day in a dreamlike state, or some number of that magnitude, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm like, unborn babies don't have a day-to-day time frame.
Right. They don't know. They're just floating around in fucking embryonic fluid.
It's just a forming mass of goo.
Mm-hmm. And it's dripping with goose. But we gotta bring up the unborn child, little Jacob, and his stupid fucking sad puppy dog eyes. This is the kid. I always forget this kid's name.
He has I didn't know he had a name.
No, just droopy eye. Every time I see this kid, it has nothing to do with him as a person, personally. But goddamn it, every time I see him, I want to just fucking belt him right in the face. I hate the way this kid looks so much.
Wow. That's there's probably a whole other list of things to unpack there in your subconscious as to why you just have you just have a face I just want to punch. No reason at all, but you just have a face I want to punch.
That's some Step Brothers shit.
Yeah. Like, I just hear you talking, but it's just word, blah, 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 punchy in the make punchers in the face. To me, this is the polar opposite of the kid in New Nightmare, which looks one way and then grows up and he's like, oh, now he's a handsome young man. This kid just grew up and has like facial hair on this same like kid looking face. So
it's weird.
It is super weird. I've seen I rewatched the Cinema Snobs coverage of this movie, and I guess he did like a Manson either look or kind of movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, that kind of works for him with longer hair and a beard, but he still looks like a fucking. He still looks like he's that kid, and like 2 kids are underneath him, stacked on top of each other, trying to buy movie tickets to an R movie or some shit.
Right, a little rascal. He looks like a big toe. I don't know what it is. It really bothers me. But speaking of things that really bother me, boy, do we just fucking write off one of the best Elm Street characters ever in the history of the franchise very quickly in this film. Boy, do they just say, remember Dan? Remember liking Dan? Well, fuck Dan. And that sucks.
You remember Dan? Fuck Dan. Mm-hmm. I thought you were talking about Alice's dad for a minute.
I like Alice's dad. He redeemed himself. He's doing well for himself. It's nice to see him sober.
Yeah, I kind of thought for sure they were going to maybe take a Gates 2 kind of route where at some point Alice was going to have some kind of nightmare and he had just relapsed and just like rock star style, like partied till he puked on himself and like choked on the vomit and died in the bathroom or some shit.
Dude, that would have been fucking super dark. Good call.
I mean, we're already dealing with potential abortion stuff in this movie, so it's already kind of heavy and dark as it is. Not to mention just actually dark, including like how Freddy looks like he hasn't slept in at least a few decades.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I know that they say that the look for part 2 was very like Wicked Witch, inspired by a witch.
Yeah.
But boy, he does. It's very witch-like in this movie, like an old decrepit witch. Like it feels like they aged him up on purpose, so he feels more like an old dirty pervert in this movie.
Does he really do anything too pervy though? Well, this may be one of his least pervy movies, really.
Well, I suppose that's true.
What's he really do?
I hadn't really thought of it.
He makes out with girl in the last movie, but there's not really anything he does that's too. I mean, maybe watching Yvonne in the hot tub.
Ooh, controversial. No, you're right. He doesn't really do anything super pervy in this movie. But again, this is past the tipping point. Major pop culture icon, had a TV series that had come and failed by this point, I believe.
I don't know if it
had came and been canceled, maybe 2 seasons.
Yeah, if it's still going, it's those off the rails episodes where it's like,
yeah,
you could taste, smell, and see the end coming.
Yeah, because 2 seasons. I don't know what that translates to in syndication, especially because they were aggressive seasons. It was felt like a new episode, like obviously weekly, right?
I know they recorded all of Robert Englund's stuff and then just shot stories around him, minus sweeps weeks type stories. So I imagine the first season was probably pretty high speed done, and then probably kind of limped into that second. So I'd say probably total a year and a half of shoots. Probably about half that second year where they're like, we can probably slow down and kind of, we'll call you and we'll come back for the next episode, and no one got a call back.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, in the Elm Street documentary, I think Robert kind of talks about how by this point he was kind of suffering from career burnout. Like, just wasn't sure he wanted to do this anymore, wasn't sure he wanted to be Freddy anymore.
Shit, he was feeling that in the previous movie. Like in 4, he was feeling burnout and got a second win. It's like, you can only get so many of those for you are getting burned out and tired of having this shit glued on your face for half a year, every year.
And I was going to say that, as a result, his performance in this movie, not necessarily phoned in, because Robert Englund does not phone things in. He does a good job with the material given, but I'm not sure if it's the makeup, which, like you said, he looks like he's tired, like he hasn't slept, or if it's the mix of the makeup and Robert Englund's, actual aura, bleeding through the makeup, Jesus Christ. I'm fucking tired. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm fucking standing waist deep in fucking cold water. God damn it. I'd rather be doing anything else right now.
That or maybe just confusion also, 'cause I know this also was a super ambitious shoot. Stephen Hopkins, the director, even interviewed years later be like, I would never take on the schedule. Like, I would just, he said he would literally laugh at someone that would try to propose what he did when he was shooting this movie. Because, again, they hired him because he young, cheap, work around the clock kind of guy, and that's what they got. Also, he was a big comic book fan, so that you can definitely see that influence on this movie. So it could be just Robert is like, we're just moving at such a high speed, I don't know what I'm doing, how to do it, or all that. And sandwiched on top of that, you're also here at the kind of the tail end, but still full force of the MPAA being like, you can't do anything.
At all. Yeah, we've discussed it a handful of times, but this movie has some notorious MPAA cutbacks that you and I find preposterous, absolutely ludicrous. When you look at daytime TV now, and I know that's an argument we've had many a times, but like
The
you look
Walking
at
Dead.
Yeah, you look at The Walking Dead and what they're putting on cable with commercials, syndicated TV. 10 million times more gory than Friday the 13th 7, than any Elm Street movie that's ever been made. But yet the MPAA,
It's like, you can't cut paper. Like, they wanted to scale back Mark's death when he is fucking paper.
which is mind-boggling.
Like, it's too violent of the cutting of the paper. That's when you that's when you might just be like, all right, this is completely off the rails now. Like, you kind of probably would lose motivation and hope at that point. Like,
Oh God,
I can't cut paper. Well, we're done.
Yeah, this movie is destined to fail. And I don't believe this movie was a failure. It wasn't necessarily a box office flop. It was the word of mouth after the opening, and this is when it started to taper for the Elm Street franchise.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first one I got to go see in the theater. This is off the massive height of 88's Part 4, which is really riding high off the success of 3. So, I think it was a combination of things of being like, slashers were kind of starting to be on their way out. The super low body count of only 3 people in this movie.
Yep.
And, it's dealing with childbirth and abortion stuff. It's not really... Who's the target audience for this anymore?
Yeah, because it's too heavy for young kids.
It just flew over my head. I never even gave 2 thoughts, really, about the baby angle of things. But, yeah, no, like, kind of banging soundtrack. The only kind of cool score to it is the opening, which sounds like the Undertaker is going to be coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just have this weird, whatever the hell the opening credits are, this body parts on blue light, and I'm not even sure what parts I'm looking at part of the time. Like, is that an arm or a fucking, like, lower back? Is that a...
Super muscly back? Because it was Super Freddy doing the humping.
Which I like. He's like, you want me to do that as Super Freddy? No, just as yourself.
As far as the soundtrack, like, we do have the Houdini, Anyway I Gotta Swing It, and
Cool Mo D at the end credits.
Cool Mo D, yeah, the LL Cool J diss song. But
why?
it doesn't make any sense, really.
That's coming off the Fat Boys for Part 4, which we have. Are You Ready for Freddy?
But the Fat Boys, that was a Freddy tie-in. That video was on MTV. Anyway I Gotta Swing It probably had a video on MTV because the video's at the end of the VHS and yada yada. But the Cool Mo D song is a head scratcher, to say the least. From Part 1 to Part 3, it was all about metal. It's all about MTV metal. And then at some point we switched to the Yo MTV Raps era.
The rap era was taking over music and movies and whatnot. I can't remember the name of the band, but I know there was a song called Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, which was supposed to be featured and more more prominent, and then it wasn't. And I think it might be on the soundtrack. I'm not 100% sure, like the official release soundtrack. But I know that was a big like sticking point, missed opportunity, is not using that song, which is a more metal fitting song for the series. I do notice, I'm not sure if it was for the soundtrack or just the movie in general, but I do know the movie did win a Razzie.
Well, you know, I can't say that I'm surprised because, again, this is my least watched Elm Street. Again, not because it's bad, but it is a tonal shift from the rest of the films. But to me, it does feel like it's trying to get back on track. Like it's trying to be scary again.
It's trying to ride the balance of 3 of being like 70% scary, 30% funny.
Right, but it doesn't quite get that mix right because visual imagery and all of the nightmare sequences and things like that are scary. There are very scary elements in this film, but at this point, Freddy had become too much of a Bugs Bunny to dial it back. And even when he's trying to be scary, we'll see, bitch. We'll just see. Like, the way it's lit, the way he looks, like, there are sequences where they want him to be scary, but he's so far gone. He's a fucking snow globe. He's a Halloween costume. He's pajamas. Like, it doesn't work anymore, and that's the problem at this era.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly it is. It's just something that I can't put a finger on. That's just not the same about it when you go from 4 to 5 with how he looks, how he kind of moves, acts. It's there, but it's just something. Even after all these years, I can't quite put my finger on. But I do love a lot of stuff in this movie. Like, we mentioned the lighting. There's a lot of blue lighting, which
perfect.
Is never a bad thing for
No.
3B video. We love that blue lighting, especially like in that church when the glove is getting the sparks flying off of it. Whereas I guess they just hooked the fucking glove to a car battery to make those sparks happen when they're doing that.
Hey, man, whatever the fuck it takes, right?
Whatever it takes. And I do like going back to the church, the battlegrounds for the previous movie. That was very cool. And we have some pretty rad map paintings. We have fucking Alice walking into what looks like Wayne Manor as
Dude,
Weston Hills.
So good. So good. That's one thing that doesn't get utilized much in the Elm Street franchise is matte paintings. There's some stuff in part 2. I guess maybe there's a matte painting in 3 if I'm trying to think of specific plate shots and stuff.
Nothing comes to mind.
Maybe.
4 does with the junkyard.
Yes. And then this. And if you are a longtime listener, you know how much Evil and I love the use of matte paintings. So,
And they have the clouds
kudos.
moving in the background. Of course, at the same time, it annoys me today because Yvonne is there to free Freddy's
Amanda.
mom somehow. Like, like her mission statement is go there and find her. And not sure what she's supposed to do after that, but she shows up to Weston Hills, which looks a little different than how we saw it look in part 3. Doesn't look like a semi-abandoned building. Looks like like fucking Wayne Manor has just been left abandoned.
Yeah,
And
it's rough. It's in rough shape.
Real rough shape, but very gothic castle-looking thing.
And the score for that whole sequence is fantastic, too. Sorry.
Great score, but I can't. Again, one of the things that bugs me today is she's just strolling around this fucking castle that's abandoned, no power to it, and it's super well lit. Like, you can see everything. Like, no, I've been I've been in houses in daylight that have no power to it, and you can't see shit. So I don't know how the fuck she's seeing anything. It should be some straight tunnel vision with her flashlight at best. But that blue moonlight though shining through apparently can illuminate everything.
Boy, it is bright.
Super bright.
But yeah, as far as other things that I absolutely love in this film,
is it the tunnels or the hallways?
The tunnels are nice. The wet, wet tunnels with rockin' lights that seems very Jason Takes Manhattan-esque.
I was totally gonna say, like, did you get Manhattan vibes off how these hallways look? Like you're just expecting to start shaking all of a sudden, some toxic wastes to roll through.
Yeah, John Carpenter, a.k.a. Bucky 2.0 or whatever, to fucking pop out.
These hospital hallways flood every night at midnight.
Gotta get the hell out of here. But, I mean, we talked about it with the first Elm Street, and it's sort of a reoccurring theme with the Elm Street franchise is no matter the small body count, no matter the story structure, whatever the case may be, somehow, some way, these movies manage to make you really, really like the teenagers that are in peril. And this movie is no exception. With the, I guess, the slight exception to Yvonne, and it's only because she's so adamantly against Alice and doesn't fall in line quick like Mark does.
She's ruled by logic, really, is her fault. She's like, you are bug nuts crazy.
Yeah, so she would be the audience.
She would be every adult member of the audience, but every kid is more or less probably Mark, like, which again, I don't know how the hell, of all the shit that's gone on in this goddamn town, every year they have to explain to us who Freddy is because none of these kids know. There's apparently no lore going around at all in this town for anyone to find out about this shit. So they all have to be told every year about the sketchy past of this town. It's like, good God.
I guess does kind of come back into play way down the road with Freddy versus Jason. Like, the town constantly has to cover its tracks when it comes to Freddy to keep him buried.
Oh, you think that's some fanfic going on here? Like after 4, like the cops are already like, it's fucking him again. We gotta start fucking passing out the sleep medication and the hypnosil for all these kids.
Right.
Get the little flash thingy that Will Smith uses. Make them forget.
So it retroactively solves all the continuity problems in the franchise. You know, we had to wait for 2003 for an explanation as to why
everyone forgets.
No one knows shit about Fred Krueger.
Yeah.
Which, if someone was to rob my Walmart, it would be talked about until fucking the year 3000. Like, it would never, you know what I mean?
I mean, we both have childhood, like, places we lived where there's one incident happening there, and it's still what's thriving the town between, you got an axe murder house, and I've got the outlaw Jesse James. Like, still shit that is, like, not a whole lot done there, but enough that's like, yeah, that's still kind of what we base the town on, and everyone knows this kind of shit. But apparently this murdering madman that keeps coming back and weird shit happening, like, what?
Yeah, that's just bad writing. No, bad writing. Secret Window reference, deep cut. But, dude, yeah, the kids in this movie, totally likable. Greta, Mark, Dan.
Mark's my man. I love Dan,
phenomenal.
But man, Mark totally takes it in this movie for me. I fucking love Mark.
Oh yeah, well it's a given. We got to latch on to some character in the movie, and you and I both grew up being comic book nerds, horror nerds. I know you wore bright clothes. I wore a lot of fucking bright clothes. I skateboarded, so I
never had to balance the skateboard. I wish I did, but I don't.
It's the depth perception. It's the glasses, right?
Yeah, I'm just a fucking idiot, and I've never been great even on a bicycle. So no skateboards, no bicycles, no unicycles, no whatever the hell they are now, the hoverboards.
I had no idea you never had a bicycle. You're just a walking dude? You like to walk?
I had a bicycle, but I was never great on a bicycle.
not graceful enough.
No, I was like, yeah, I'll just fucking walk it. Like, I had a bike and like, yeah, it just
We didn't
wasn't
have like a
great.
3-wheel bike, like a big tricycle type of deal.
We had a plethora of bikes when I was young because my dad worked at an airport, like repair, like an overhaul base. So it's a really fucking big place. So he actually took a 10-speed out there and had a work basket on the back where he could put his toolbox and stuff. And he would just ride his bike around on days where it was slow, and they would customize the bikes and stuff. And he brought home another couple of 10 speeds and had just a real basic metal bike that was just, I mean, it was just as basic as shit. And we spray painted it silver so I could totally pretend I'm the kid from It riding the
Hi-oh, Silva.
yeah, riding that. But did it a little bit, but yeah, I was just never a balanced guy. So I would just look at Mark rolling down on that skateboard. Dad could skateboard too. He was my Mark, I guess. I just look and go, man, that looks cool. I wish I could do it.
Right. Well, I mean, you're not alone. My daughter wanted a skateboard last year for Christmas, and it is just sitting, like collecting dust. She was like, I'd like to learn that, and then never did. So
Oh, I'd like to. Doesn't mean I still want to.
right.
But yeah, Mark skateboarding. Always wanted to do that. But yeah, you mentioned Dan. Dan is awesome still, and this is where we get. Dan's death. Did not ever really get from the previous movie or really this movie when they're like, he has the need for speed, like he's fast living, fast cars, fast.
He's fast on the football field. He can run fast.
Why are they recruiting him at his graduation? Like, isn't that dude in that pale blue suit, like he's there to recruit Dan for football, and he's just hanging out to graduate, and that fucker sits in one of the graduation photos. Like, he just sees a chair and like, I'm gonna get in on this shit. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Like, I don't think you can do that, sir. You might need to,
Yeah, Alice's dad should just look down and be like, what is that? Who are you?
Yeah, who are you? Why are you here? You did look beautiful. Which, again, let me say, I love his character arc. I love the redemption of that. For personal reasons. I love when someone can overcome an addiction. But
Yeah, he totally 180s and stands up and for Alice when the other, like, I guess I think I had the wife look into it at one point. So I was like, then this violates some serious like HIPAA law shit. Because Alice...
Oh, Dan's parents?
Yeah, Alice finds out that she is pregnant. Dan is toast. And she's getting an ultrasound done and is asking some odd questions, but that just prompts her fucking doctor to call up Dan's parents and say, like,
Yeah.
I think she's a little bit big goofy. I think you may need to take this kid away from her.
Yeah.
What?
Hey, you guys want to steal a kid away from a 17-year-old kid?
The courts may not agree with you. Like, what the hell?
Because she asked if babies dream? Like, it doesn't make any sense, really.
Yeah,
but,
she fell asleep on the table while she was getting an ultrasound done, which also, again, why the hell are these kids so goddamn sleepy? I don't remember ever being really tired at 17 or 18. Dan falls asleep driving his fucking truck. Mark, probably even more weird, like, Alice says, I'm gonna go make some coffee. I'll come back and tell this story. And the time it takes her to go make coffee, which doesn't take long, he crawls into bed and falls asleep.
Yeah, does not make sense. Because when I was 17, I could go for days and days and days without sleep, without water. Like you're like a fucking cactus when you're a teenager.
You can just survive on energy drinks, soda, and chips.
Yeah.
Like, when did you sleep? Tuesday? It's Thursday. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no real nutrients, nothing. You can just go because you're fucking young and vital and vibrant.
That might have something to do with how we are now. Maybe if we'd done better younger, we might be doing better now.
If we had rested more, yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe our bones wouldn't be as brittle and we wouldn't be so like prone to breaking at almost 40. They call me
Mr. Glass. But yeah, going back to Dan, dude, with his character arc as well, right? him and Alice are together, and they're going to go on this trip. Freddy is vanquished. Everything is looking up. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Everything's great for the two of them. And, you've got Dan possibly getting recruited, but also expressing like, hey, I don't necessarily know that this is where I want to go, but his parents kind of pushing him. A very good character arc for the amount of time that he's on screen. And Alice calls him, and he just comes to the rescue. It's not like, I'll be there later, whatever, you know what I mean? Very, like,
that is like
boyfriend of the year.
He hangs up the phone, he's like, God damn it.
Yeah, gotta go.
Shit.
And I love everything about him, and he gets snuffed out super unfairly. It's just not cool, man.
I'm curious who the hell is paying for this. Like, because their plan is to fly to Paris for the summer. Mm-hmm. Which is, even if you cut it short, still at least a month and a half, 2 months of time.
Right.
Like, who is paying for, are you just, is this what Alice
Waitress tips, man.
Yeah, this is what Alice has been working for the past years, for this trip to go down. She's just saving all this money to spend on this Paris trip. And yeah, he picks up a bottle of champagne, which I don't know how he does that, because he's
underage.
He's underage, and he's just road tripping with this to go get her. And they somehow find this broken bottle, and apparently they can't test his blood alcohol level in 1989. They're just like, see a broken bottle in the truck. And
he
like,
was drunk.
Clearly, this kid was partying too hard. He came from an insane pool party, which again, you leave. I mean, even if she is a top-level student who is a world-class swimmer / candy-striped nurse, you leave a 17-year-old or 18-year-old even the keys to the public pool to lock up?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And, if you want to take it another step further, in the 80s, and she's a minority, like... In white bread Springwood, I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying.
We're saying like, yes, I trust the young black teenage girl the keys to the town swimming pool. Yeah. Oh, it's graduation weekend. Well, clearly she couldn't be possibly planning something.
Yeah, nothing bad could happen.
And she's totally going to be responsible and clean up after what looks like 300 people partying at this. Like, especially with stupid kids, like some shit's gonna get broke that's not easy to fix.
Yeah, and there's probably glass in the pool, piss in the pool.
There's glass everywhere. Guaranteed somebody is breaking a door just because.
Yep. What a stupid place to put a lamp.
And
shit like that's going down.
Absolutely. And the fact that there has to be somebody that's gonna have to be carted off to the ambulance for a broken arm or fucking neck or foot. Something, fucking around, jumping off the high dive, rustling around, throwing each other into the pool and stuff. Injuries are going to happen.
Dude, within the 2 minutes we see the pool party, someone smashes their fucking beer bottle and cuts their hand all up.
Yeah, because they're bringing beer and alcohol into this stuff, so you're going to have drunken people. Someone's going to pass out and fall into the pool, drown, and die.
Yep. And... it's almost foreshadowing, but she lives, She falls asleep in the motherfucking hot tub.
Which makes no sense either. She falls asleep and goes under the water in a hot tub. We don't know how long, I guess, she's technically there between Dream World and Awake World, but she pops up, at some point, for at least a hot second, she is asleep underwater.
I thought I was up to Yvonne!
So she's even almost killing herself and still lives in this movie.
Yeah. What the hell?
Everything should be working against Yvonne. Yes, she...
put her on suicide watch. She does need a room at Weston Hills.
Yes, she should be losing all scholarships, whatever the hell, apprenticeships, whatever it is she's got, because she is really not a great person when you look at it. Like, you're endangering a lot of kids in your class. You're kind of being, you're being realistic, but you're being a shit to your friends.
Cool out. Take off somewhere.
Leave Springwood. Like, where? What is their teenagers still?
Leave the planet? But But boy, yeah, we got to get into.
But you know the money's not coming from Dan because Dan's driving that beat the shit old truck. It looks like a truck from the fucking 50s.
Yeah, it's an antique, man. It's worth money. He's gonna sell that so they can go to Paris. But we haven't really quite talked about Greta, and she's another one, extremely likable. Also, kind of going through that crossroads that Dan is going through. Like, your parents always think they know what's best for you. Mm-hmm. Parents are kind of making all of her decisions for her, and she deals with it the entire film until she finally stands up to her parents, but it's too late. It's in a dream sequence when she finally gets the guts to stand up to her parents, and it's all over from there.
Or to her mom, because do we even see her dad? I don't think we
her dad. Yeah, I guess her dad's not there, but her mom always kind of creeped me out with the bright red hair and the like green eyes. Was like,
looks like an Adam's apple.
Yeah, you make me nervous, lady.
Greta. Photo opportunity there.
That's not what a cover girl puts in her diet.
Yeah, I can't even lick a lollipop.
Made me lose my lollipop.
That's the kind of restriction she's on. She can't lick a lollipop around her
Yeah, what
mom.
kind of bullshit is that? Like,
yeah, if she's
you
not...
can go throw up in the toilet after you eat, but don't fucking lick that sugary lollipop.
I was going to say, like, if Reddy did not end up killing her, she has definitely got a made-for-TV lifetime eating disorder special in her future. And
oh, yeah.
Probably early death as well, because she's going to be one of those 98-pound bag of bones, feeling like she's still overweight types and keeling over too young. She's actually a really, seems like a cool actress, because when you see her interviews on, like, Never Sleep Again and stuff, she's one of those, like, I guess you would classify her as, like, she's a hottie, but she's down to get gross.
My favorite, down to get gross.
Like, she was all for having the prosthetics put on her face and, like, really, like, do it up and let's get nasty with how it looks with my just puffed out Monty Python fucking cheeks.
Dude, yeah, like a Garbage Pail Kid or something. Real weird.
Yeah, pretty gross back in the day, I thought.
Yeah, still definitely gross. Definitely gross.
Tough to look at with their big poofy cheeks and all that mashed up shit coming out of her mouth.
All that baby food or whatever the fuck it is.
It looks like baby, or like bananas, this crunched up bananas.
Crunched up.
Yeah, that's how you do bananas. You crunch them up.
There you go.
You just Kona crush them up.
That's like a terrible way to go too. Like in the dream, you know.
In the dream, yeah. In reality, it's bizarre.
It's just like she just choked on her own spit, essentially.
Kind of.
She wakes up coughing and she got the virus. She got the corona. Took her down.
If we only knew in 1989 what would be coming back for us in almost 25 years.
Take you down right here, cowboy.
I do like the aspect of that. I mean, you can easily make fun of it because, like, how she's choking in real life as her arms are way the fuck out. Like, it looks weird. Like, how she's standing with her arms out, choking.
Like a scarecrow or some shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like she's
Like
hung
a
on
cat.
like she's Linda Hamilton stuck on a board by Children of the Corn.
Dude.
But I always took that as that's what's in her dream. Like, because in the dream, Freddy is, like, bear hugging her and somehow choking her. So I just imagine that's her arms over his shoulders. We just couldn't see it in the real world.
Which, we got to bring this up. It just popped in my head right now.
Just popped in there.
Watch out for the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But when we talked about the first film, we talked about how Freddy has a tendency to slightly cover his tracks. Like, he covers his tracks with Rod Lane.
Yeah.
It just now occurred to me that every single death in this movie
Is
completely covered. Looks like an accident. They all do. Every single one of them. And now I'm like, wow, we've gone full circle. He's back to doing this, which is something that I really wish the franchise would have fucking held on to. I wish they would have done it more.
I agree, but man, it would have kind of put a weird restriction on things a little bit. Like, you can make a creative death, but then you got to find a way to make it look Final Destination like.
Yeah,
I guess.
Well, I mean, that's the power of the writer. You know, I mean, take like Nancy's bathtub sequence, but you don't give it to Nancy, you give it to someone else and you kill them in the bathtub. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta really tap into some creativity to make that work. And for whatever reason, the franchise doesn't do it often, but then when it does, it's amazing. Like, I totally just had that revelation that it's all 3 deaths in 5, and I'm like, oh fuck, that makes 5 way better in my book now. Like, way better.
By the end of this show, you're gonna be like, you know what? I really do like part 5 a whole lot more. I'm gonna go watch it today.
I probably will watch it today since we're discussing it.
We start with Dan fucking getting killed in this, smashing into this 18-wheeler, which I love. We have a Freddy lookalike callback with this dude jumping out of the 18-wheeler covered in blood. Like, he came out of nowhere.
Some kind of jet. I didn't even fucking see him.
Yeah.
Looking like Alice Cooper in fucking Freddy's Dead.
Yeah, because definitely I see that truck, I think jet-like speeds.
Yeah.
That thing looks like it's struggling to get to 40. I'm like 45, I bet that whole truck is just fucking rattling. Like,
this is the vehicle's top speed.
I can run faster than this.
Terminator 2 references, deep cut.
But we have Dan hitting the truck, and they're think drunk driving, fell asleep at the wheel. Then we have Yvonne with, they think is this, just choked on her food or some shit at the dinner table. Greta, yeah.
Yvonne makes it.
Yeah,
against all odds.
Against better judgment, she makes it. And then Mark, which I don't what the is he's living in his dad's
warehouse
business of just steel with pallets probably 15 feet high of
some shipping business, whatever it is. Yeah.
And in the real world, shit just collapses, and they're like, everything in that whole building wasn't up to code. It's amazing someone wasn't killed sooner, and they both weren't axed off.
It was an Amazon warehouse.
No one was working it, so it's clearly not true.
Yeah, right. They're all on their minute-long pee bottle break.
I'm sure that was that was probably the WWE's merchandise warehouse of 1989, where you order a shirt and you might get it in the next 8 weeks.
Right, it's not coming.
There's only 2 people working it, and one is a teenager.
Yeah, just aisles and aisles and aisles of like boxes of random shit.
This
fucking everywhere.
Blow it. This kid ordered a DX shirt back in 1997.
Everything does look super dusty in that warehouse.
Here's the weirder part, and like I can't imagine the prop people that were tasked with this, but in that scene when it goes aha, and we go into black and white, that's not like a camera trick. Everything is fucking painted black, white, and gray.
Yep, and then so they made Mark super bright, made his clothes super bright. He's wearing makeup to like really boost his skin tones and everything. Man, could you imagine?
You can tell too, like when the shit's collapsing after Freddy on his skateboard takes out a few of the beams. You can see when some of the shit's falling, like just underneath some of the wood. There's like, there's the real color of the wood.
The actual wood color.
Yeah, over the gray paint job that's on it.
Yeah.
I do like that look of Freddy, though. That's one of those NECA figurines I wish I had, was that black and gray Freddy. Not Super Freddy, because I have that, but the regular Freddy.
Yeah. That whole sequence is phenomenal. We get Mark channeling his comic book character that he created, the Phantom Prowler.
Yeah, Phantom Prowler. Love it. Surprised no one's made that into like a fan fiction character yet. It's really surprising.
We need an action figure of it. NECA should get on that. That'd be a super deep cut of the Phantom Prowler.
We need an action figure, but I just want a cartoon
or like an
show.
issue 1 comic book.
Yeah, I want a graphic novel of the Phantom Prowler.
But so Mark gets, because he's essentially a coward the whole movie. He keeps referring to himself as one, like, God, I wish I just had the guts to ask Greta out. You know, like, I love Greta. I missed my chance. And, you know, my comic book character's more of a man than me, and he's not real. Like, really, really fucking down on himself, doubting himself. And so when he has to have his fucking altercation with Freddy Krueger, he channels the Phantom Prowler because in his dream, he can be the Phantom Prowler.
His anger takes over
Yeah.
seeing Greta's death as a doll in front of him. And I can remember that being a super mild but cheering moment in the theater when I saw it, is when he whips around that dun 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 dun. Like people being like, yeah!
Yep.
People in
And
the
he
theater
just-
were excited for the Phantom Prowler to be appearing.
And he unloads on Freddy.
Does. Looks like Batman meets the fucking Punisher.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Just has 2 9mm and just... and I like that when he's shooting him, like, it looks like
Paper or
shredded
something.
paper is coming out of the bullet
Yeah.
wounds on Freddy.
Probably can't have any blood. Probably can't have any blood. The MPAA would get angry with you.
Well, also, do you know the story why Super Freddy has a giant lightning bolt across his chest?
It's because the squib burned a fucking hole in the shirt, right?
Yeah. And a malfunction at the junction, and his fucking sweater caught fire. They're like, oh.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He had a
Quick,
Mrs.
put me out.
He had a Mrs. Doubtfire moment. His breasts were on fire. And I put that shit out, like, I had to think on her feet and like, oh, put a giant black lightning bolt across it,
Yeah.
like Black Adam or some shit.
Super Freddy. Which I forget that actor's name.
I forget it too, but
Bailey? Paul, not Paul Bailey. That's the other guy who
that's
does
our
Freddy.
friend Paul Bailey, a much better Freddy.
Yes. I feel like his last name is Bailey, but someone let us know in the comments
was-
of something somewhere.
He was in something else, like without the makeup. And we're like, that's Super Freddy. I don't remember what the hell
Yeah.
it was now.
Oh, he's massive too, dude. Like so big. It's almost off-putting seeing Freddy muscly. You're like, wait, what? Like, what's happening? And you know, then he gets to give his whole like Superman speech, but Freddy Kruegerized.
Faster than
great.
a bastard maniac.
Yeah.
More powerful than a local madman. Muscly, but yeah, proof in the pudding that the stripes don't necessarily convey muscle tone, because he looks just chubby when he's walking
Yeah.
towards them. Like, he just looks like Fat Freddy. I'm like, oh, that's just how the stripes are not flattering to the human torso. Yeah, he looks like he's the 4th member of the Fat Boys there in the music video. Are you ready for Freddy?
But then we go full circle and we get to talk again about the MPAA getting so mad about this death. Which, when you look at this death, it is the very definition of mild. It's so tame. It could be on an episode of Goosebumps.
It could be a cartoon in 1989 or a commercial.
The only way this could be more tame is if it was like Rick's death in Part 4. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if there just was no Freddy. Like, it's so devoid of any gore or any true violence, yet it's extremely effective. And for some reason, the MPAA just wanted it dialed back, and it doesn't. And so what's on screen is dialed back.
And is this the last kill with the glove until we get to New Nightmare?
Yeah.
Like, he's not
Right.
stabbing anybody with this shit.
It's part of his silhouette.
The rest of this movie and the next.
Yeah, it's just part of his silhouette, man.
They just gave it up. They're like, we couldn't even cut paper. Why are we going to bother trying to kill anybody with this goddamn glove anymore?
Right.
Just take it off.
I mean, literally, Freddy Krueger is with his weapon, he's the definition of a slasher, yet he does not slash. It's a paradox, man. It's a really weird thing. Yet here we are, 37, 38 years old, and we've completely come to terms with it, but it doesn't mean that it's not head scratch inducing every once in a while.
Just careful which hand you're scratching with.
Yeah, you don't want to, peel open your scalp.
So we get to the ending of this, and we've talked about in the last ones how we get to the vanquishing of Krugers.
Oh, God,
so we get to
here we
this
go.
one. Yes, here we are going. We get to we're in a dream sequence. We have had our labyrinth moment. Then we have a really wild effects scene where Freddy materializes out of Alice, which they use like a little like a legless like veteran actor to do the scenes where he's literally
And
coming.
some stop motion too. Let's bring
Yep.
that up. There's some fucking badass stop motion right there.
It's a trippy little scene where Freddy is just materializing out of Alice. Mm-hmm. And then we have Amanda Kruger, which I guess all she needed was just broken out of her jail cell from Yvonne.
Behind the wall, yeah, some random fucking brick wall.
Yeah, once that's open, it's just thank you and goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm off now.
Doesn't make any sense that anyone would know which brick wall to bust open. Like, or she breaks open a door. That's what it is. It's a boarded up door, and then Amanda's in there.
It's a bricked up door. She's actually knocking out brick by brick.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense. Like,
do you think that was actually it, or you think because that's the last we really see in that sequence of Yvonne? Like, do you think she assumed like that's all I had to do, or think she picked up like the nun's robe and took it to a cemetery and buried it somewhere too? Like, well, I can at least bury these clothes. Maybe that helps.
Like fucking Craig Wasson in Part 3. Like, yeah, there's a whole fucking scene on the cutting room floor of her going and trading her ID for holy water and shit. Like,
yeah, she goes and digs up a hole underneath the Cadillac and like, holy shit, there's bones down here. I'm not the only one burying corpses out here. I'm gonna throw this robe and shit on top of it and put it all back. Mm-hmm. So she appears in this dream that's in the fight, the fight with Alice and Freddy.
the fight, yeah.
The scuffle, the misunderstanding, disagreement between the two. Jacob is just there because why not? He's just there.
Teach me.
Man.
And Amanda tells him to turn the power that Freddy gave him on him, which prompts him to vomit. Looks like shit that comes out of your drain in your shower when you clean it.
Gross. Don't.
I just did.
Yeah, and I know exactly what comes out of your drain because you put me on to getting that fucking drain
Wizard
weasel.
thing. Yeah, the drain
Whatever
weasel.
fucking. Ugh. Ugh.
That's what is vomited on Freddy, which prompts the 3 souls he has taken that he's going to feed, I guess, to
Which
Jacob.
look like fetus, kind of like fetus things.
Yeah, tentacle things they're Muppet heads of the 3 victims we've had of Greta, Dan, and Mark. But Mark's head looks. Although Mark's head is the
Phantom Prowler.
he's the Phantom Prowler, and Greta's head is just puffy cheeks and screaming the whole time. And of course, it's Dan's puppet that has the big pull through and yanks the Freddy baby out of the standing body of Kruger, which prompts his dusty ass clothes to hit the ground, which makes me
Again.
nowadays go,
Yeah.
so much dust in his fucking clothes.
Got a lot of dry skin, man.
And that's how Freddy is essentially killed, as his powers turned against him. He's turned back into a baby and then absorbed into Amanda's torso.
This is my second least favorite ending in the franchise. Obviously talked about it with Part 2, how I just hate the way Part 2 ends. This one, and I know you and I have discussed this hundreds of times, how as a kid watching this, it's a very perplexing ending. It's one of those things you watch and you go, it's hard to like externalize.
You accept it visually, but if you were tasked with how did he get killed in this one, you're like,
Unborn baby puke.
well, it's almost like on the same premise of like, how's he resurrected in 4? Fire piss?
A dog pees on him?
Yeah, like you've been puked on by a baby? That'll
Like
kill you.
I'm sure there's some sort of deeper meaning. Maybe not, but it's one of those things where every time I watch it, I go, I don't understand. I don't know how we got here, and I like knowing how film productions work now. Knowing that they were like essentially writing the script as they were filming, if I'm not mistaken. Like they were fucking going and writing, or maybe rewriting. Like coming up with the idea of his vanquishing. Everybody at New Line sitting around going, sure, all right, write you a check. You know what I mean? Like, here's your deal, and then getting the crew and getting everybody and seeing that through. Like, it's just one of those things that boggles my mind. Again, like you said, as a kid, you accept it, but you just cannot externalize. It's so hard to be like, this is what happened, and this is why it happened. And to actually say, and the ending is good. That's really hard for me to say.
I'm gonna take my best stab at it. All right, I'm just gonna free ball it here. I'm gonna take a stab at it on how this movie ends. Is Freddy has his power, his essence, that he is. All he is what's come back because we're taking future movie logic, and Alice is still fearing him. So that's what resurrects him. So that power is what he has. And he takes that power and kind of divides it and gives some of it to Jacob. You are going to be the next me. I'm going to be passing everything on to you, which is why I'm feeding you the souls of her friends to future power you. She will not destroy you because you are hers. But I'm going to make you in the mold of me. You are going to be the next me in the real world. And once he has power, but he's never really known how to use it. And when Amanda tells him that the power that he has given you, you turn it on him. It's almost a part 4 thing of evil seeing into itself. He's using evil to fight evil and take all of that energy and power, shoot it back through Freddy, and that causes Freddy to completely like back travel in his how he metamorphosized into who he is then to what he was. And as an infant child, he is helpless. He has no power. He has no control. All that power is now back in Amanda's hands. And it's taking the stance possibly of maybe in some situations abortion is appropriate because she is probably not going to have this baby now. She's going to keep it locked internally inside her. And that's when we get that end sequence where the glove is shooting out of Amanda, which I think is one of the sales pitches early on when they were doing like part 3 or 4 was, what if Freddy had a baby? Had a baby, just, you know, the Freddy claws clawing out of the fucking the stomach. That's Freddy trying.
What a like pitch meeting that was.
I'm sure.
It's like the Gremlins.
Freddy had a baby. What if
it's
Freddy
the Gremlins 2, the Gremlins 2 Key and Peele skit all over again, but with just Bob Shea high off his fucking gourd, just fucking throwing things out. Like, yeah, Freddy had a baby. Baby Freddy.
And Freddy trying to get out is him trying to say, I'm real. I have a voice. I have a heartbeat. You can't kill me. But yeah, we're going to go that deep. And all them doors shutting, those candy doors are like, no, you're not going to. Yes, I will. No, you're not. Yes, I will. Steel door. You're not breaking this shit. And that's it.
That got deep. I got to say, while you were explaining all of that, I just kept thinking, you mean like Malignant? Like,
So what you're saying is Malignant is a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child.
Yes.
They stole everything from it. I think you're trying to find a way to make Malignant more in my wheelhouse than it was.
Malignant is the greatest horror film to come out in the past 5 years. But it's okay if you don't like it. I'll be over here championing.
It's okay.
It'll grow on you like a tumor. But now that
it's not a tumor at all.
We've reached the conclusion, and we know now why you cry, Sarah Connor. We know why. What the ending of this film means. Yay, abortion. I'm sorry. We know what the ending of the film means. I guess it's time to move on to our next segment. Wait.
Wait.
We haven't given out a brown panty award. Mark.
Man, it's hard to... Marker Dan. Fuck it. Yeah, I can make up my own fucking rules. They do in a lot of these movies. I'm splitting the panties front and back to Mark and Dan. There's only one death in this movie, and it's Greta. Sorry, Greta.
I'd split Greta's panties. Wait. And then we'd be talking about abortion. Wait.
Well,
God. Whoa. Sorry.
Maybe we should just go into more positive things, like how much the internet hates this movie. So let's just go ahead and fast forward to those Amazon 1-star reviews.
Hated it.
Well, believe it or not, on the Amazon 1-star reviews, there's some, but not as many as you would think. So here we go. Cedric C., October 16, 2020. So a fairly recent one. Mm-hmm. Even though that's 2 years old. But, I mean, what's 2019 to 2022? What time has really passed, really? Oh, yeah, we made a movie.
Yeah. But we've been trapped in our house otherwise.
We made a movie. But Cedric says 1 star. Want a refund.
How many E's is that?
2.
Oh, nice.
I want a refund. Wasn't what I thought.
That's it? Wasn't what I thought.
That wasn't what I thought. I don't know what he was expecting. But he didn't get it.
No. Yeah, didn't get it.
Goddamn. I took the Lord's name in vain 50 times.
Goddamn.
Not a fan. Next up, we got Mr. No Name.
All right.
On October 11th, 2007. 1 star. A sore disappointment. Freddie, Robert Englund, returns to haunt Alice, Lisa Wilcox, and her friends once more, but this time Alice is pregnant with a boy and Freddie is using her unborn son to haunt her. All as this is going on, Freddie continues his rampage on those around her, and it's again up to Alice to find a way to stop Freddie. This is one of the worst movies in the series, behind only Nightmare 2, mainly because of the weak storyline. There is, however, a rather insightful subplot which involves Freddie's mother, Amanda Kruger. The film's gothic tone could have been very beneficial to this film, if it only were for a better story. The acting is bad, and the movie seems as if there was no genuine thrills to offer, and therefore it runs out of steam very quickly. If you want a good Freddy movie, look elsewhere. Followed by Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare.
All right, then. Not a fan of this movie. I see.
Not a bit. Next up is another one of those fellas that's all caps, so he's really pissed.
Oh, boy.
This is Michael Taylor on July 15th, 2003. Damn. So I'm imagining July 5th, because August 15th, if I recall, is he's literally 1 month out from Freddy vs. Jason. So
right,
he's getting hyped. He's gonna watch the series, so he's up to date on everything. Going to see Freddy vs. Jason. He gets to part 5 and has to get on Amazon and say 1 star, the weakest entry in the series. Here's the plot: a girl gets pregnant. Freddy's stalking her in her dreams. This is even worse than number 2. I don't know if he's talking about the movie number 2 or Pooh. This was made just to cash in on the success of the last 4. It really. I really think this should have been I really think that this one should have had the plot it has. I don't.
Okay.
That's what I'm like. What? Did I skip a line? No. There is some okay special effects, but other than that, the movie's complete garbage. Horror fans, do yourself a favor and don't rent or buy this if you already haven't done it. Wait for it to come on TV sometime if you want to see it without wasting your money.
Your monies. Don't waste your monies.
3 people found that helpful.
Man. Fuck all 3 of them. Good Lord.
All right, now we're going even further back for the next one. This is from Movie Dude.
All right.
On August 3rd, 2002.
I trust a user named Movie Dude.
From 20 years ago now? He says 1 star, poor. Nightmare on Elm Street 5 reeks of a bad script. Don't even bother with this film. I feel that part 4 and 5 really should have not been added to the series, but part 5 is the worst of the two, and without question, the worst of the sequels.
Wow. What a fucker.
I guess you cannot trust the movie dude.
No, he doesn't like 4 either? Like,
Doesn't like 4 or 5 and hates 5 a bit more than 4.
what are we doing?
Well, we're reviewing A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 and looking at some people who absolutely hated it. Speaking of which, we'll go into the very last 1 star. I have Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child, from Vincent Donato on October 28th.
D'Onofrio?
Nope, Donato, not Dino Frino.
Okay.
Donatello. Vinny Donatello on October 28th, 2001.
Woo!
1 star. Hate it.
Appropriate.
This is one of the worst ever. Alice and Dan made love, and they will have a baby. Big whoop.
Oh, that killed me. Oh, God, that got me.
But then Freddy
big
returns and is haunting the baby's dreams. Freddy wants to turn the baby into him. This is terrible. Skip this movie.
Big whoop.
They make love and have a baby. Big whoop.
Big whoop. I'm going to just start using hashtag big whoop all the time. I love it. God, I love it.
Be sure to post that today when you're rewatching Nightmare 5 is Alice and Dan have baby. Big whoop.
No, they had big whoopee. Big whoopee.
Big whoopee make baby. Hashtag big
Yeah.
whoop.
Because there was a period in time when people referred to fucking as making whoopee. So,
That's some dating game shit right there.
yeah.
Or mall rats.
Where is the strangest place you've ever made whoopee? Or like
What's
the back of a
whoopee?
Volkswagen?
Being intimate. Oh, you mean like fucking?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
In the elevator earlier today.
I think it's kind of personal. I don't think I should answer that. Can't you just call me the second suitor? Suitor number 2 sounds like a bathroom thing.
God damn it. Oh, Kevin Smith.
Gotta love him.
Yes.
But that's the conclusion of the 1 star. So now we can go into that other segment, which I was just so anxious to get into. Which we'll just cut all that. You won't know what I completely tried to mash up there. You just won't know.
You won't know that he was so anxious.
I was so anxious. I wanted to make the Amazon 1 stars. Also, the game. Maybe we'll do that for a future one. But for now, we'll keep those 2 things separate. Just like 5 is separate from most of the rest of this series. But it's time to play the game.
It's time to play the game. Time to play the game! It's all about the game and how you play it. It's a boy and you can't abort it.
Abort it. It is time.
You can't abort it and it's here to stay. It's dreaming all the time and making its way today.
God damn it. That's right. You are listening to the Deep Cut Podcast, and it is time to play the game. It's only fitting that we pick a deep cut prop from the movie. So, that being said, you cannot pick Freddy's glove or Freddy's hat or Freddy's sweater. Those are not deep cuts. That's too goddamn easy, so think outside of the box.
Dig a little deeper.
Oh, Freddy versus Jason reference. Deep cut. But that's right. So we like to wrap up every podcast playing the game, picking a prop from the movie that's off the beaten track, something unique, something fun, something different.
Yes.
So, I suppose I'm going to let you go first this week, Evil. Because I think maybe you and I are going to pick the same thing, so I just want to be prepared.
You know, I had the exact same thought. And the thing that I wanted to go with initially, I was like, I bet he will pick this, so I'm not going to pick it. So I'm going to see if you end up picking what I thought you would pick, that I would pick, that we both want to pick.
Now they know that we know that they know that we know.
So my alternate pick, outside of what my initial pick was, which I will go back to that first pick if you don't pick that pick, is I would love to have the Phantom Prowler's scope sights that shoot out of his back. It's like sticking over on his...
Oh,
like,
over the gun? Yeah.
not even over his gun. It's just over his like left shoulder. And I was like, how is this helping you aim at anything.
Oh, that's excellent. Oh yeah, the one that goes in front of his eye.
Yes, it's like, and it's
Yeah.
not even close to his eye. It's probably a good 2 feet from his eye, and it's a glass like sniper's like lens that is coming out of like a fucking antenna out of his backpack that looks like a proton pack. And like, how is this helpful? How is this helping with these? Because these also his 9mm look like they're attached to this backpack. It looks like some like Doc Ock like proton pack that has the scope coming off of it and these 2 9mm pistols. Because you can't
Right.
like put them down; they're just kind of attached. He looks like that cowboy He-Man figure.
Oh, that's excellent. So that way, that way you can help aim. You'll be ready to aim for whatever reason.
Yeah, nothing's shooting out of that, so it's not how aiming works, but it
That's
looks cool.
Literally not how aiming works, but
No, that's like commando level of aiming. Just shoot in a general direction in a spray pattern, move left to right, and you got it.
that's right. This is better than one of those autofocus cameras. You just spray the area.
He put on the auto aim god mode code before he became Phantom Prowler.
As far as my prop goes, dude, also ties into Mark. So I'm sure that my prop is the prop you were going to pick. I want the Nightmares from Hell comic book.
Exactly. I was like,
the-
oh, that was the first thing. I was like, I want that. And I was like, nope,
And-
not picking it.
And listen, I know for a goddamn fact that we have, because this whole prop game thing started from working conventions or being at movie screenings, and whenever we had time to kill, we would fucking play this game. And sometimes we'd involve other people, but more often than not, it was just you and I.
Yep.
And I know that we've discussed Elm Street 5 props, and I know that you and I both are like, that'd be the one fucking thing that would be amazing to have.
That might be something we discussed when we did the commentary for this movie. If you go way the fuck back to we were doing Patreon only podcast. One of those we did was a commentary for Nightmare 5. We actually watched my VHS that I had purchased
Yep.
back in 1989. So we did a commentary of that whole damn tape, including the music video at the end. So it possibly came up during that. If you want to comb back through those archives, if you're a patron supporter.
I'm sure it did. Like, that's just one of those things that I know you and I both have an affinity for. We love that. It's unique.
It looks cool.
And
The cover just looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool. It's got the, absence of color on all the panels, so you can tell it's just like storyboarded or sketched by whoever. But very unique. It's a very unique prop, and it just seems like something that if they ever did offer a replica of that or whatever, it wouldn't even be a matter of minutes, and you and I would both have it ordered. So it's one of those things where we know how much we love that prop and what we would do to have it.
Okay, in real time here, I just looked it up. So if it's still operational, which it says it is, Rabid Weasel Mask and Prop Studio, the Nightmares from Comic replica prop in stock. You can get this. You can get a prop of it. They have a picture of it next to a replica glove. Looks pretty good. This item is handmade by myself in the UK and is listing as the replica Nightmares from Hell comic. Sells for $35.01.
Well, I think we got something to discuss after we wrap this podcast up.
It is currently on Etsy. Etsy, if you go to Etsy and you find it, it's $35.45. And they are selling fast. There's only 4 left, and one person has it in their cart already, so there may only be 3 left.
Bum, bum, bum. About to be only 1 left after we check our finances.
And he actually has pictures up, and you actually have a comic panel. The comic panels are in the book.
Oh, yes.
And the very back cover of the book is like his own promotion of it. Like he has like Rabid Weasel, comics, but he has a picture, and it's of the Vampires from Hell comic from Lost Boys.
Yes.
Both Creepshow comic covers, a Cellar Dweller and Ghoulies, done in a comic like panel style, so you could cut out like a certificate to mail off for it. That's what the back of this thing looks like.
That's so dope. Yeah, we're probably going to need those. But on that note, we've played the prop game. We've given out our Brown Panty Awards. We've done the Amazon 1-star reviews, and we've covered the film. So there's only one thing left to do, and that's make some coffee and take a nap. So I suppose I should probably get out of here because, after all, there's a lot of movies out there, and somebody's got to watch them. So why not us, right?
There he goes, the fastest man on 3 legs.